Hello everyone, Warnerbeck here. In today's video, I will be sharing my PvP build as a Sorcerer. There are two builds you can play as a Sorcerer. You can use a support or utility build, or a DPS build. As previously mentioned on my last video, always know your role. If you have a main DPS on your party, then it would be best to run as utility Sorcerer, especially if your offensive stats are lower than the main DPS. If you have the higher offensive stats in your party, go for DPS. I would suggest optimizing for one role or the other, because making two builds takes a lot of resources since you need to build utility Sorcerer as tanky as possible. Anyway, enough of me yapping. Let's get right to it. For my stats, I have 99 agility, 99 int, and 99 vitality. The rest of my stats go to luck. Do not min-max your agility because there are a lot of debuffs in PvP, which could get your attack speed below 500, which affects your DPS significantly. The main damage modifier stats for Sorcerer in PvP is Ignore and Def and M damage. That is of course aside from the PvP damage, which you should not forget too. Now for my skills, feel free to pause the video to copy my skills. Here are my manual skills. Here are my auto skills. If you can, try to manually cast Invoke Spirit, especially on larger fights. I know it is easy to forget to cast, but it'll get you control for when you want to burst down the enemy. I also manually cast Manifix, Spell Rewrite, Dispel, and Land Protect. These are very important skills to manually cast. Spell Rewrite gives you move speed boost and SP regeneration, and Manifix for fixed 50% SP for 5 seconds, Dispel to remove enemy job buffs, and Land Protect to prevent enemies from casting AoE spells like Wanderer's Impulse Domain and Genetics Demonic Fire. Demonic Fire cannot be cast manually when you are in Land Protect, but they can still cast it while on auto. Need Aru to fix this. I use Wind Spirit as well as it gives me more move speed and reduces enemy move speed. We do not have a teleport skill, so it's hard when enemies run away from us. Next is going to be my equipped costumes. As a rule of thumb, add up the additional damage and reductions your costumes give, and use the one that gives the highest value. For my headgear, I use Cute Mushroom Castle for utility build. I use Shiny Hairband for my DPS build. For my facewear, I use Christmas Box. If you do not have Christmas Box, you can use Jade Bouquet or a portable headset. For my mouthwear, I use Chicken Drumstick. If you do not have Chicken Drumstick, you can use Jade Gemstone or Carrot Crepe. For my backwear, I use Neon Signboard for the damage reduction. If you have Mischief Lantern, I highly recommend using it. For my costume, I use Dinosaur Costume. You can also use Panda Splendor for the reduction or Midnight Neon for DPS. Now onto my Divine Armaments. For my weapon, I use Strategy Book. I know some people say strategy is for PvE, but this actually gives you 1% M damage for every 200 SP. A lot of people already have a lot of M damage reduction because of Ragnarok, plus with the recent release of Royal Guard. Getting high M damage is key to bypassing enemy reduction, aside from the PvP stats of course. If you have a really high M damage compared to the M damage reduction of the enemies in your server, then I suggest using Holy Word. For my armor set, I use Ragnarok of Fortitude. There's really nothing that beats the survivability that Ragnarok gives you. Even if you are a DPS class, surviving in a fight longer is always key to winning. For my shield, I use Thorny Buckler for the reflect damage. For my Radiant Ornament, I use Sparkling Knight for DPS since this gives M damage the more SP you have. I also use Runestone when I'm playing utility. For the Divine Bliss, you can go for Rage or Sword Shield. Now for my enchants. For my headgear, wings, and costume, I use PvP technique with substats ignore MDef. For costume, I use PDef as substats. For my facewear and mouthwear, I use 3 lines of PDef. For my armor, I use counter crit with substats crit res. For my shield, I use anti-P damage with substats of PDef or crit res. For my weapon and accessories, I use magic boon with substats of magic attack %. For my cloak, I use anti-M damage with substats of inner MDef. For my shoes, I use anti-P damage with substats of crit res. For my cards, feel free to take a screenshot of what I use. For me, Furious Popering is very helpful since we do not have a teleport skill to chase down enemies. Always use Marduk card as well. For the Dark Lord card, you can also use Illusion Dark Lord. If you do not have Dark Priest card, you can still use Skell Worker and Hydra. For the cloak cards, you can use Elemental Resistance card like Dustiness and Isis. You can also use 2 Harpy Queen cards. For the Verus Cores, the most important basic skills are Momentum Management Module, Holy Light Shield, and Muscle Block. These 3 are a must-have for PvP. For the expert effects, Transcendence is a must-have. You can also choose from Cosmic, Energy Acceleration, and the Bolts Boost protocol. This is what I currently use. For my Nebula Path, feel free to pause the video to copy. For my Astral Sign, I use Spirit Kin. Here are my sigils. I use Chaos Energy for my job sigil. I use 2 offensive sigils and use 2 defensive ones. For my feathers, I use Light, Day, Space, Time, and Devotion or Faith on my offensive feathers. For my defensive feathers, I use Light, Dark, Holy, Nature, and Truth. Alternatively, you can use Soul for the purple feather or Justice. For my mount, I use Octopus Drift Bottle for the reduction stats. Here are my mount equip. For dexterity barding, you can also use sharpness for more M damage. I feel that I'm still lacking PvP damage, that's why I use Blitz. Now for my Nexus Engine, here are my modules. I still use a 55211 on my red and yellow modules, and I use 22211 on my green modules. For the red type E modules, always try to get Ignore MDef, M damage, and PvP damage bonus. For the yellow type E module, always try to get PDef, MDef, and PvP damage reduction. For the green modules, I just get flat PvP word. For my job talent, I use the same talents as my PvE build. Elemental Shield, Spirit Blessing, Element Resonance, Element Amplification, Undaunted. Lastly, for my card deck, I use Major Resolve, Minor Protection, and Major Protection. Alright, that's it for today's video. If you have any questions about my build, let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Share it to your sorcerer friends too. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.